So I started recording. Today's webinar is the IQ panel. Here's the difference. We make all of our webinars available on our YouTube page, so you can access this at any time by going to youtube.com/Qualsys and finding the playlist called Webinar Recordings. You'll also find a number of other videos there, useful videos like the Ask Jenny installation videos or commercials or things like that. So hope you're able to take a look at those later on today. After this recording is complete, we'll upload it up there to YouTube, so you should be able to see it later on today. I'm going to go ahead and advance the slides here and start by talking about who Qualsys is. Our goal is to improve the quality of life through innovation technology, and the name Qualsys is actually short for Quality of Life Systems. The QOL is Quality of Life, and SYS is for Systems. I quickly want to launch a poll real quick. I want to know if this is your first Qualsys webinar. I want to know if if you've been to these before, and if not, if this is your first one, welcome. Looks like the average, it's maintaining our average. We get 25% of the people are brand new, and then the rest of you are veterans, and that seems to be holding true for this webinar as well. About half of you have voted now. If you're in a position where you can click that for us, just good to know who our audience is. Of course, for those of you that are brand new, Qualsys was established in 2013 at ISC West. We launched our company back then, and shortly thereafter launched the IQ panel, the 7-inch touchscreen, which we're going to be talking a lot about today. Qualsys was really built on several tenets, the biggest thing being really improving the quality of life through innovation and technology. But also, I'm going to go ahead and close this poll now. But also through these 4 pillars of well, we just call them the 4 pillars. The first one being a world-class platform. We really work hard to build a platform that has an appified experience, that's attractive and intuitive, that's compatible with all sorts of devices out there in the market, both today and in the future. And a big part of that is the panel camera. Building a panel camera right into the panel, which not only gives your customers a free camera, but adds a lot of great experience to it. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. The second pillar is dual path connectivity. The concept that Wi-Fi and cellular can work together to create redundancy, to improve performance, and add flexibility. And again, we're going to talk about that one a lot today as well. Cloud upgradable is the third pillar. You should have software updates. You should be able to have feedback. You as dealers have comments and questions and ideas. We should be able to, as a company, take those ideas and make them a reality. And that's what we've worked hard to do with countless software updates up to this point, and we continue to do more software updates as time goes on. But that also keeps your panel up to date. If the panel that you had bought from us was the same panel we designed back in 2013, it would be significantly different. And for those of you that have been with us and been a customer for a while, that there have been significant software changes to what we've done. Think about the panel that we launched back there in 2013, the features that we had, the limited capability we had in comparison to what we have today. And even back then, it was blowing the market away. So, the fact that you can always have a panel that's up to date and that it will continue to improve is really, really important for us. And the fact that that reduces costs in terms of upgrades. You don't have to worry about rolling a truck to upgrade a customer, because that upgrade, literally happens over the air. And we've had several customers. Howard Blackman, in fact, I want to take a moment of silence for Howard Blackman. I'm trying not to cry here. Howard Blackman was a fantastic customer of ours who passed away this past weekend. He was most recently working for Alarm.com, but prior to that, he owned his own dealership. I remember him telling us one time that he upgraded 200 panels within 5 minutes over the air, and thought it was the most amazing experience ever. He didn't have to upgrade his customers by sending them a new panel, didn't have to roll a truck to do it, and he thought it was a wonderful experience. So, Howard, we're going to miss you. For those who knew Howard, you knew what a great guy he was, and we appreciate all the work that he did, both at Alarm.com, but also as one of our dealers, helping us to refine the panel and sharing his ideas of ways that we can improve it. So, and we want that from all you guys, everyone who's on the phone today, everyone who's maybe even not on the phone. If you've got ideas of things that you want in a platform, we want to hear them. we are really always innovating. I mean, that's one of our main tenets is we're really trying to innovate so that we can provide to you the very best system that we can. The last pillar here is interactive services. We've got dealer tools that are there. We've got the great user experience. The whole goal is to retire the truck. Only roll those trucks when you have to or when you want to, and and the whole goal of killing the fob too. You don't have to worry about using a hardware fob, but you can use the software, use the mobile app, and giving your customers that mobile experience that they've really, really been looking for. So, it's got some great questions right out of the gates. Have there been any hardware updates with the original 2013 panel? If so, what hardware updates have been made? There really haven't been hardware updates. There have been some firmware updates and software updates, certainly, but the hardware itself is pretty much the same as it was. And we're going to go through all those features. Before we dive into there, another thing I want to point out for our brand new people is the partnerships we've got. We use Android for our operating system. Foxconn is probably the world's largest hardware manufacturer in terms of quality, and they do all of Apple products. They do all the Cisco routers and the Xboxes and things like that. They also build the IQ panel. Alarm.com has been a fantastic partner, and we've spent over 3 years now integrating our system as closely as we possibly can with Alarm.com, so you can do everything you can do locally through the cloud as well. And then, of course, Tyco, which several Tyco representatives are on the phone again today, and you, of course, probably have met with Tyco representatives in your area. The Tyco team has been fantastic in making an investment in Qualsys and then continually investing time and resources from their sales channel to help us get out to you guys where, being still a small team, we can't always come out and visit you firsthand. We can't always meet with your distributors, things like that. And the Tyco sales team and technical team has been fantastic in helping us do that. So before we move on to our next subject, which is the IQ panel, I'd like to know, are you currently installing the IQ panel? And the options, of course, are yes, no, or maybe you're evaluating now. Maybe you're still trying to decide that. Maybe this webinar will help convince you. But curious to know, who our audience is. Are you currently doing it, or are you maybe you're waiting? Maybe you've decided not to. But that'll give us a point of reference. I'm gonna take a little sip of water here. Rick says we need a better wall mount for the IQ2. Rick, I hope you've seen the latest one. If you haven't, head over to distribution. We haven't made the official announcement yet, but as a sneak peek for all of you guys here on the call today, we have redone the back plate and the IQ2. So there is actually a wall-mounted back plate for it, and I think you guys will love it. I've got them installed in my house now, and they're fantastic. Again, the official announcement hasn't been made, but those actually are shipping out to distribution now. So, we'll probably be making that official announcement here at or right after ISC. Let's see if there's any other questions real quick before I move on while you guys are finishing up your poll. Here's one question. Jason wants to know, will the IQ panel integrate with Nest Thermostat? The answer is yes, right? Yes, there is an Alarm.com integration for Nest. It's not really the IQ panel integrating with Nest because of the way Nest works. It is the app itself has a way to interact with the Nest Thermostat. And then is there a way for your customer to utilize the system if you install it without an Alarm.com account? Yes, it's possible. You could use it locally. You can certainly, control all the lights, locks, arm your security system, things like that locally. But you would lose all the interactive services. You wouldn't be able to have your weather pushed out on your panel. You wouldn't be able to, arm or disarm your system from your phone. You wouldn't get all the notifications. You wouldn't have the geofencing features, things like that. So while it certainly is possible to use an IQ panel locally for a local system only, you're missing a lot of remote functionality. And I think if your customer sees how nice that is, I think they'll be willing to pay the difference. And I think that's one important thing as we go into this, you guys. Technology, the way it works today, is inherently a little bit more expensive than it used to be. A rubber button keypad was very inexpensive, very, very affordable. But to have a more intelligent more robust system like a 7-inch touchscreen not only costs more, but you expect more out of it. And I think your customers are going to see how how nice it is to have a 7-inch touchscreen on their wall. That 7-inch touchscreen acts as the brain of their home. But being able to interact with it when they're outside of their home is a really critical part too. We fully, at Qolsys, we fully expect that the usage in terms of interacting with their system is probably 50 to 60% from the mobile device, even within your home, potentially with, like that. I'll give you a perfect example. Kids went to bed last night. My wife and I are sitting on the couch downstairs in the basement. We're getting ready to watch a movie. The fireplace is on, and she looks over at me and says, "It's a little hot. Can you turn the fireplace off?" And I said, "Sure." I grabbed my phone. I opened up my alarm.com app, touched fireplace off, and voila, the Z-Wave switch I have installed on my fireplace turns it off. I don't have to get up. I don't have to get out of the blankets. I was pretty comfortable on my couch. I didn't want to get up. So it made it so I didn't have to. Do I have to have it that way? No, you could certainly do it where you just walk up and do a switch. You could also walk over to the panel and do it, but there's such nice convenience about being able to do that from your phone. Now, it's more than just laziness, because I also want to be able to create a rule that says when I drive away from my house, I want to turn that fireplace off. When I leave the home and I arm my security system, one of the safety features of it is not only arming the security, but turning off space heaters, fireplaces, fans, turning down the thermostat to save me energy, to save me money, and to make my home safer, to reduce the risk that something would happen when I'm not there. So the IQ panel, as the home's brain, can do all of that. It's your local interface inside the home, but it's also your brain for reaching out from the outside of your home. So there's some really, really great stuff. And I want to go through some of the features first, and we'll get to some of your questions, because I see a lot of questions about interoperability in terms of Amazon Echo and things like that. So we'll get to all those. But let's first dive into really the difference of the IQ panel. And first off, let's talk about touchscreens. 7-inch touchscreen is the new standard. I don't think that there's anyone out there who doesn't agree with that. You think about the panels that are in the market today. You've got Vivint Sky. You've got the 2GIG GC3. You've got the Honeywell 7000, the Honeywell Lyric, even the GE Advisor, which is out now. 7 inches is the new standard. And whether you're also installing those in addition to the IQ panel, or maybe you're installing that instead of the IQ panel, I think everyone understands and agrees that 7 inches is kind of the new standard. And those of you that are offering a good, better, best, or are competing against a good, better, best, oftentimes the good is a plain rubber button keypad security system, nice and affordable. You've got better, which is one of those 4-inch touchscreens, like the 2GIG Go Control, or the Simon XTI. Maybe it's that 5-inch Honeywell panel, things like that. And then there's the best, which is the 7-inch touchscreen. And whether you're competing against it or selling it yourself, you're finding more and more that customers are wanting the best. We've got many dealers, some of you are probably on the phone today, who have said, I offer a good, better, best, but no one ever takes the good or the better. They always want the best. And it's because we're used to a certain level of technology. We're used to the mobile phones, the smartphones, the iPads, the Android tablets, things like that we're using, and we want the technology to feel the same. We want it to look the same. So having something less than that in our home feels like we're going backward, and we don't like going backward. And customers are willing to pay for it. They're willing to pay a little bit more money for a nice interface inside their home. Now, there's some companies out there that will say you don't need a touchscreen at all. You only need your smartphone. Well, I completely disagree with that, because I've had times where I'm on conference calls all day, and when I get home, my phone battery is dead, and I need to put it on the charger. So should I wait to disarm my system? I mean, I open up my door, I've got a delay on it. I've got 30 seconds to hopefully charge up the phone. Quick, run to the bedroom, plug it in, and get charged up. Oh crap, my siren's going off. Come on, charge up. I got to do this. No, alarm company's calling, monitoring station's calling. Yes, it was me. It's a false alarm. I'll turn it off here in a minute. Sorry. It's ridiculous to think that I wouldn't have a way to turn my system off. Okay. So whether it's me walking in the door with a dead battery, or a phone that got stolen or lost, or whatever, or maybe it's not even me. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's a relative. Maybe it's another member of my family coming home. I want everyone to have a way to disarm the system, to be able to use the system, to interact with it. Can you imagine how silly it would be to tell your neighbor, hey, can you watch my fish for me? Feed my fish while I'm gone on vacation. Here's my smartphone while I'm gone so you can control my system because I have a headless system. I don't have a touchscreen in my home. Of course not. It's silly. You want a way to interact with your system, and a 7-inch touchscreen is the best way to do it. And I don't think there's many people that would argue with that. Panel camera is the next one. And let's be honest, the idea of a panel camera is super cool. I'm kind of surprised that, I'm going too far. Hold on, back up here. I'm kind of surprised that the panel camera isn't as, that we're still the only one. It's, I kept expecting other people to be competing, especially because we launched the IQ panel in 2013 with a panel camera built into it. And at that time, it was just a panel camera that was going to be doing things. Through a software update, we enabled disarm photos, which allowed the panel to take photos when the panel was disarmed. A later software update enabled alarm photos, so when the alarm goes off, it takes a photo. A later software update enabled it so that when you disarmed it, it would also save the name of the user who disarmed it, not just the date and time it was disarmed, but it would say disarmed by Jeremy at 11:45 p.m. on Thursday, whatever it is. Now in 161, on our next software update coming up, we'll also be having those disarm photos and arming photos, excuse me, it says arming photos, but it's arming photos too, and alarm photos to your phone. So now when Whitney disarms the panel, I'll be able to see it right there on my Apple Watch. I'll be able to see it on my phone and see that it's her. I mean, how cool is that? What great visual verification is that to know that your child came home from school safe and you can see their smiling face right there on the camera, okay? No one else has that right now, which surprises me still, but you know what? That's great for us and great for you, right? Another great part of this IQ panel is our dual path connectivity. Why is this not going? There it goes. Simultaneous cellular and Wi-Fi for intelligent redundancy. Speed, performance, and reliability. I tell you guys, dual path connectivity kind of took me by surprise. I mean, we were developing it with Alarm.com, working hard to bring it to market a few years ago through a software update. I had no clue it would be as powerful as it was. The first time I turned it on, and my panel's signals to and from the panel were just lightning fast. It blew me away. But there was an unexpected benefit to this too, and it was the flexibility of being able to install the panel almost anywhere. If you're a technician, you know how challenging it is sometimes to go and put a panel in a home that has less than perfect cellular signals, right? You get to that home and you're literally walking around the house. Oh, how many bars do I got now? How many bars do I got now? You're just trying to figure out where that best spot is. Well, sir, it looks like we can either install your panel behind your armchair or in your upstairs closet with an antenna sticking out the back of your house. I'll have to drill a hole. It's sometimes kind of silly. And installation locations were often dictated by where you could get signal. Well, not only do we have a stronger cellular signal in the IQ panel, but when you enable the dual path connectivity and you've got Wi-Fi paired in there as well, as long as your panel can get Wi-Fi, you've got both Wi-Fi and cellular working together, and it, in real time, will send signals the fastest and best way possible. So your opportunity to install it in different locations expands infinitely. And it's been really, really, really well received. We've also got this great all-in-one hardware with built-in wireless radios, no external antennas required. Wi-Fi, it's used for software updates, communication with dual paths enabled. I know that the 2 gig GC3 is going to have Wi-Fi at some point. I believe you have to encounter a cellular-based or even a USB-based update to enable that. I know they're working on that, so that'll be great for those panels when that comes. But until then, it's still cellular only. Honeywell, I believe, has a Wi-Fi option, but it really is only used for automation, and it's kind of used as a failover, so it's not dual path connectivity like ours has. The Vivint Sky panel, I believe, has some kind of Wi-Fi thing, but they do everything through their quote-unquote Sky Cloud. So for those of you that are competing against Vivint, I don't know a lot of information about the connection of Wi-Fi versus cellular on there, but I'm guessing it's something. So be curious to know if any of you guys have any information about that as well. The cellular radio, we've got both CDMA, or which is Verizon, or HSPA, which is Rogers or Telefonica, used for communication, and it's also used for dual path. Now, there's no external antenna needed, so you don't need to worry about connecting an external antenna and then running it through the walls. We get a lot of dealers asking us, well, do you sell an external antenna? And the simple response is, no, you don't need one. Not only are you going to have better signal, but when you enable dual path and have Wi-Fi and dual path and cellular working together, that's your external antenna. Wi-Fi is, the ability to connect Wi-Fi into that whole system and use it in real time. And again, for those of you that are brand new to Qualsys, that Wi-Fi and cellular dual path connectivity is not a failover. So to be clear, if my signals on cellular are bad, it's not going to wait 30 seconds and then time out and then switch over to Wi-Fi like the Honeywell panel does. It's going to literally in real time say, hey, cellular's bad, send it Wi-Fi, and it does it instantaneously. So it's really intelligently routing those signals. Security RF, we can have up to 59 devices. You can have those on 319.5 or 433. We also do sell a 345 frequency translator, and we have hardwired translators as well. So those 59 zones could be both hardwired or 345 if you really wanted them to. Z-Wave, we can do up to 75 devices with the radio that's built into the panel. And we've got an image sensor radio built into the panel, which does up to 5 devices as well. So all of those are all built in. You don't need to buy them separately. You don't need to snap them in separately. It's all built in. We call it an all-in-one panel. Now, before I dive into the next section, I want to check through because we've got a lot of questions here. I want to go through and make sure that that we've addressed everything here. Let's see. Whitney's been answering your questions over text as well, so I want to go through and make sure that there wasn't anything I need to address there. Will there be hardware updates made to support Z-Wave 500? There is a plan to support Z-Wave 500 or Z-Wave Plus, and we'll be talking about it at ISC next week. So we'll have an official announcement here very shortly about that. Good question. Does the cellular radio upgrade remotely also? So the cellular radio upgrades, in terms of the upgrades, it can get firmware updates, yes. We do not send our software updates over cellular, though. The reason being it would take too long and it would be expensive for you because you would be charged the data. So as of right now, we've never sent a software update over cellular. Is it possible? Yes, I believe it's possible, but we don't because it's just generally too costly. And those of you that have had panels that upgrades over cell have seen some of those costs, and those are for very minute, small updates. Typical updates over cell is about 3 megs, which can't change very much at all, whereas a software update over Wi-Fi with a Qualsys IQ panel can be up to 90 megs, and we can have the panel downloaded the software update, rebooted, and back up and ready to use within 5 minutes. So now I understand that there's going to be those situations where you can't get Wi-Fi in the home, and you'll need to do the best you can for those customers. But I know that the majority of homes in America have some sort of Wi-Fi connection, so you should be okay with that. Let's see. Jim says we haven't seen the new back plates on the IQ2s in distribution. Need to reply to that. Yep, we can take that offline, Jim. But that's something with the IQ2. I believe it's just a matter of getting the right ones in there. So. Are we integrating with Amazon Echo or Apple TV? Great question. So Apple TV the new Apple TV has an Alarm.com app, which currently I believe only does cameras. I don't have that one yet. I still have the older Apple TVs. But I know Alarm.com is working on security devices, being integrated in security system things and other automation being built into that Apple TV app. So watch for that from Alarm.com. In fact, I'm looking forward to next week at ISC to see what kind of progress is being made on that Apple TV app. We'll see what they've got. In terms of Amazon Echo, I was at CES a few weeks ago in Las Vegas, and we had an Amazon Echo in our booth. Alarm.com brought it over. It works to automate lights. In terms of the right way to do that, I would talk to your Alarm.com representative, but there is a way to use Amazon Echo for lights. Amazon Echo you want to be really careful with, of course, as we all want to be careful with, because the last thing you want to do is integrate some security things into it, because it's not voice pattern recognition, it's voice recognition. So you wouldn't want some bad guy banging on your door saying, hey, Alexa, disarm the system. Hey, Alexa, open the door, and have that work, right? So, you'll see some functionality in there, but it will be also a little bit limited just from a security standpoint. So be aware of that. Let's see. Is the weather a changeable icon? No, it's not. The weather is fixed on the panel. However, we are working on something for a future software update that we can talk about it after ISC, but we can't talk about it. We had a lot to talk about at ISC, so I hope you guys are going. Are there any outdoor sirens that are compatible? I have not seen an outdoor siren that is a security RF siren. If you guys know of a 319.5 siren, I would love to see it. Hardwired siren certainly would be. You can wire it right into the back of the panel. There's actually a siren output right on the back of the panel, so you can do that. But a wireless outdoor siren, I haven't seen one. Mike says, having a panel for me is a must, and Qualys is the only way to go. Thanks, Mike. We totally agree. Let's see. Great for small businesses, says Pete. I totally agree. It's really great, especially with that disarm photo feature. You think about how you are, walking in each day and saying, hey, you're supposed to be there at 9 a.m. If I'm not opening the coffee shop at 9 a.m. like I'm supposed to, and you get a text message saying it's 9:15 when I disarm the system, and you see a picture of me looking very guilty, then when you arrive at the shop, you'll ask me to take off my apron and come meet you in the office, and we can have a little conversation about how tardiness isn't acceptable and how those poor people lining up outside the place need their coffee faster. So yeah, absolutely great for small businesses. Let's see. Is there an additional cost from Alarm.com for sending pictures to phone? I don't believe so. I believe that's all. It's just another notification, similar to we're basically treating it similarly to an image sensor. So just like you can have image sensor pictures sent to your phone, I don't believe there's an extra cost to there. However, there probably will be a limit, and whether that limit is in addition to or built into your image sensor limit, I don't know. And those are all things that we're working on right now with Alarm.com to determine how that's going to work on that side. But as soon as I find that information out, we'll definitely share that with you guys on a future webinar. Okay. Here's a great question. Richard says he has a unit on a bench now and has a CDMA radio soldered onto the motherboard. How do you replace it down the road? Good question. Two things. Number one, with the panel, unlike a snap-in cellular radio, the quality of the panel and the workmanship, especially because we're using Foxconn for the manufacturing, far surpasses anything that you've been using up to this point. So, reason number one to replace a cellular radio is because it's faulty or bad, right? I mean, I've worked at a dealer. I remember, we had all our technicians had extra cellular radios all the time because rattling around in that truck, something would go wrong. They'd snap it in, it wouldn't work. They have to go back and get another one. You won't encounter that here. It's been tested from the factory. It's a really reliable, high-performing cellular radio. And it's, again, tested by the same type of factory that's testing the cellular radios on your phone. When was the last time any of you bought an iPhone or an Android phone and the cellular radio went bad? It really just doesn't happen. So in terms of quality, you really won't have to worry about that piece of it. Now, the other piece of this, the other side of that equation is longevity. And everyone's kind of nervous about this whole 2G, 3G, whatever sunset, right? What are we going to do when AT&T, Verizon, etc. decides to shut off those towers and only go with LTE or 4G or things like that? It's a valid question and one we've thought a lot about. I have read an article, a couple different articles from about Verizon saying that they're realizing that the CDMA network not only is robust enough and fast enough to handle most home control / security type things, but that that there's so many systems that are on it today that they've talked about keep leaving it up and maintaining it for that reason, that it would really become almost the home control protocol, and that you should be good for another 10 years plus. Now, whether that's true or not, I mean, we can't determine whether or not Verizon is going to decide to leave that service up, or AT&T or whoever is going to decide to leave those service up and leave those active. We don't have control over that. We may influence it potentially, but we certainly don't have control. But I would rather point you to a more obvious situation. I wish I had a poll ready for this, because I would totally do a poll on this. How many of you are still using either A, flip phone, or B, using a first generation iPhone or Android phone? I'm willing to bet that it may be one of you, but probably all of you are on some later version of that, and that you've had multiple versions. I myself am staring at my first generation iPhone up on my shelf. I keep it up there as almost like a little trophy, and I look at it lovingly, remembering the first time I got it. But after I had that, I had an iPhone 3G, and then I had a 3GS, and then I had an iPhone 4, and then I had an iPhone 5, and then I now have an iPhone 6 Plus. So we get new phones all the time. It stands to reason your customer will want to do the same thing. Now, you guys as dealers are probably going, whoa, whoa, whoa. That means I got to go back out to the customer's home every time and replace technology and things like that. Yes and no. It's a great opportunity for you to upsell them. There is no reason why that customer wouldn't be willing to sign a new contract, wouldn't be willing to pay extra for it. Think about how much you paid for your new phone. Okay? Think about that. Your customer has the same exact experience. They expect when new technology comes out and they're willing to implement it, that they will do so, that they will be the one to foot the bill. So I would, rather than think about, well, what do I do in 10, 15 years when CDMA finally goes away, I would be asking yourself, is my customer truly going to be satisfied with a panel that is 15 or 20 years old? Are they really going to be happy? Knowing what technology's done just in the past 5 years, let alone what's going to happen in the next, in the next 5 years and the next 5 after that, I think your customer's going to be asking for a new system long before that CDMA or HSPA sunset occurs. So that's just my 2 cents on that. We've got lots more questions. I want to dive into some more of the presentation here, so you guys don't have to sit there and stare at the same screen over and over. More of our hardware, we've got an SD card slot. We can use that for loading photo frame pictures on, which makes our panel turn into a photo frame. You can use it for manual software updates. If for some reason the Wi-Fi in the home wasn't there or went down, or whatever reason, you could mail out an SD card, or a technician could bring an SD card with them. You can even use this to load custom help videos. So if you go onto our dealer portal and download our help videos and customize them, you could use the SD card at the time of install to put custom help videos on that maybe have your logo, or maybe some additional videos that you want to put on there, things like that. You can also, your customer can use an SD card to save the photos that the camera's taken and put them onto the SD card so they can take them and put them somewhere else. So let's say that someone breaks in and the camera takes a picture during the alarm event and captures a picture of the crook. Well, you can slide your SD card in the side, grab that picture, and take it over and push it. Now, of course, that picture is also available in the cloud, but if you wanted to pull it off locally, you can use the SD card to do that. We've got a lithium-ion battery in there. It's got a very long life and allows us a nice slim form factor to keep the panel small. It's rated for up to 24 hours. We've got a UL certified siren with the SIA rating of I think it's 91 decibels or whatever it is. Dual speakers. The left one's dedicated to panel sounds and the right one to two-way voice services. And then a microphone built in the bottom. It's the little hole right underneath the home button. We also have those over-the-air software updates, and you can see a picture of what our first generation software looked like. And we did a software update that updated all the icons, updated new features, updated the fonts, all sorts of things to give it a more modern, more fresh look. And we've been very, very pleased with the results and the reaction to that. But those software updates are pushing all sorts of information. Again, the 161 software update coming up will include the ability to see your photos on your phone from your disarming or your alarm events. So a lot of great things happening with software updates. Let me go through and see what other questions we've got here, because I know you guys have been pounding away at these, and I apologize we're not getting to them closer or getting to them faster. Does the panel send alerts and notifications every time it loses Wi-Fi connectivity? That would be annoying, wouldn't it? Good question, Jared. The panel actually has an alert on it that will pop up in the status icon saying that the Wi-Fi connectivity is gone. Now, if you choose to enable a notification, like a text message, to your phone, you can do that. I don't do that because I know that Wi-Fi goes up and down all the time. So the panel will literally have a little red bubble saying, there's a message there or an alert over your status icon, and it will tell you that the Wi-Fi is disconnected or that it's not functioning. But as soon as that Wi-Fi reconnects itself or is reestablished, that bubble goes away and that alert goes away. So unless you choose to manually push alerts from alarm.com about that, no, you wouldn't have that bothersome thing. It would only just be a little notification on the panel. Let's see. Daniel Johnson says DSC sells extended antennas for a 15-foot antenna for the DSC Touch. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. That's great. If they need it, that's great. Again, I think Wi-Fi and dual path connectivity is the solution you'd need, and then you wouldn't have to worry about those. But if there is an extended antenna out there, that's great. Is there a limit to the number of pictures that the panel camera takes? Yes. We limit it to 20, the 20 most recent photos for each category. So you'll get the 20 most recent photos for your alarm pictures, 20 most recent disarm photos, 20 most recent pictures on your image sensor. And that's just so that we can save memory and flash storage for other things. But you can, like I mentioned, put an SD card in the side of the panel and pull those off manually if you wanted to keep those for a longer period of time, or go on and, from your alarm.com account, download them that way too. What about the Bluetooth radio? Andrew wants to know. There is a Bluetooth radio on the panel. We're not currently using that radio on the IQ panel, but we've got it in there. That's another reason why software updates is so great, because in the future, if we establish and create a nice secure way of doing, Bluetooth disarming, for example, or something like that, that you'd be able to do that and wouldn't have to worry about rolling a truck to enable that we would make that available through a software update. Let's see. Can you get the IQ panel with a 345 radio for a Honeywell takeover? We don't currently have a built-in 345 radio, Jacob, but we do have a takeover module that will translate all the 345 signals from 345 into 319.5. Now that takeover module supports up to 245 sensors. Of course, our panel only does 59 sensors, which should be more than enough for any installation. But the one caveat I would say is it doesn't do the life safety things. For certification reasons, it won't do things like COs and smokes. So you'll want to do those, either replace those with 319 devices or find another solution there. Great question. Can you connect 319 and 433 on the same panel? Alton wants to know. Great question. You can by using a translator module. So let's say you buy an IQ panel with a 319 radio built into it, and you walk into a home that has an existing 433 set of sensors. You could use a translator module, a wireless translator, to translate from 433 to 319. Now, would it be better instead to purchase the DSC Touch because that has 433 built into it? You might want to do that. It's really up to you to, based on what type of situation you want to do. 433 certainly has some sensors that we don't have. We've got some sensors that 433 doesn't have. So it's more a question about what ecosystem you want to be able to use than about the panel itself. I think you would potentially save some cost by doing a DSC Touch instead of the IQ panel, just because you wouldn't have to pay for the translator unit. But if there was a reason to use the IQ panel, like you were using maybe some hardwire devices with our Hardwire 16, or you wanted to use that innovative doorbell sensor that we have, which isn't available on 433, then maybe it would be smart to do the IQ panel as well, and then do the translator for the 433. But that's really up to you. It's flexible either way. Let's see. What signal does Qolsys use? Jared asks. It's 319.5. And hopefully that was clear. Let's see. I've got lots of other questions around the radio signals, and it looks like I think I've answered all of them. Do we have a comparison grid against the GE Advisor 1? No, I don't. In fact, I don't know much about it. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were mentioning that Advisor was actually out. I don't know much about Advisor at all. I've played around with it a little bit. It was my understanding that they were still kind of, trying to get it to market, but apparently it is being sold now. And I'm looking forward to learning more about it. In fact, we've had multiple people ask us for comparative charts between us and the other competitors out there. and we're working on developing those. In fact, we were talking about it earlier today on our sales call. We're working on developing some tools for you guys so you can be able to see the differences between all of them. So let's see. Customer wants to connect. Jason wants to know, the customer wants to connect the panel to alarm.com, but you're running more of a general contracting business, and you don't want to deal with creating your own alarm.com account and being a dealer for alarm.com. I think that you would probably, Jason, I think what you probably want to do is find a dealer in your area to help you with those. You could certainly reach out to alarm.com and see if there's maybe someone that you could partner with or work with to manage that side of the business for you. Because I totally get it. The builder business is growing more and more and more. In fact, Jason, Whitney, if you'll make a note here of Jason, get him in touch with Jasmine and she can help him with that. But if you're a builder on this call or a contractor of some sort and want to be able to use the hardware and all the features and things in your projects, but don't want to have to deal with the support side of things, the monitoring side of things like that, we can absolutely put you in touch with someone, with a dealer, one of our dealers in your area who can be more than happy to help you coordinate all that. So Stanley asked a really good question. Are you going to announce a new panel at ISC West? Interesting question, Stanley. Very interesting question. How about Mike mentions, how about setting using Honeywell sensors without a translator? You can't do that because Honeywell sensors are using the 345 frequency and we're using 319 on the IQ panel. Let's see. There's a lot of questions here, guys. Got a lot more stuff to share, but I want to make sure we get to all your questions too. Whitney looks like she's handling those questions pretty well. I'm gonna dig back into the presentation a little bit more. So I mentioned the personalized photo frame. You can use your SD card to put your own pictures on there. Those pictures, of course, can be customized by you, or the panel comes with a set of 15 photos already in there. So you can use our photos as well. We also have touch arming, really easy to use. Stay away mode. You can turn your exit sounds on and off just by a touch. You can see how easy it is to bypass a sensor. And if a sensor is open, it automatically floats to the top of the list. So let's say that garage tilt was open. It would appear at the top of the list in bold. And if you've got auto bypass turned on, it would automatically bypass it for you. So really, again, we've really focused on making this an intuitive, easy to use interface. And it's part of that is because we've got a 7-inch screen. And so we've just got more real estate to do stuff. We talked a second ago about those intuitive alerts. This one's on the Contact Us app, but of course, if you're on the Status app and your Wi-Fi goes down, it would pop up that same kind of bubble. But throughout the panel, you're going to see these kind of alerts that let you know that, hey, there's something that needs your attention. And it's a great way for your customer to go and interact with the panel. Now, one other note I might make on this is right here on the Contact Us page, or on the home screen on the Contact Us icon, if you're an Alarm.com silver package or above, you actually have your logo there instead of the phone icon. So it's kind of a nice way to have some branding there. So if you're not an Alarm.com silver package, keep pushing for that, because once you do, that's another great benefit you'll get from that. And we've got built-in video tutorials. I mentioned those earlier when we talked about what you can do with the SD card. But built into the panel are 15 videos that teach you about some of the most common issues, questions, things like that people come up with. I saw recently that the Honeywell Lyric panel started implementing those video tutorials on their panel too. So we were glad that we were able to give them that great idea and that they're using that. And I hope that everybody does. I mean, honestly, people ask us, are you worried or upset that people are copying you, that they're doing some of these things? And I see, instances all the time of our competitors taking the ideas that we've got and doing them themselves. And my personal opinion is, I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. If we can give them some ideas of ways to promote their panels, their products more, then all that does is make us more inspired to do even more things. And I mean, a rising tide raises all ships, right? So the more we get this stuff in as part of the standard, that everybody's offering these great features, the better off the whole industry becomes, and the better off the customers are. Now, of course, we want you to buy our platform. We want you to use the IQ panel and our sensors. We think they're the best out there. But we hope that everybody in the industry, whether you're on this call today or not, is really taking advantage of the technology that's available, because that's what customers are expecting. Let's give them the technology they expect. Let's do away with these old rubber button keypads or these tiny touchscreens. Let's start providing with these great 7-inch touchscreens that really enhance the customer experience. Speaking of enhancing the customer experience, image sensors. If you guys aren't using this product, you're crazy, because it is an awesome, awesome solution, especially when compared to a traditional motion sensor. Not only is it a great motion sensor, but you add in 5 IRs, 5 light emitters, that allow you to see in the dark, and a camera so that you can take pictures now. You could take pictures the next time the camera detects motion, or anytime the image sensor detects an alarm event. Then you will have those stored not only locally on the panel, but can get them via text message. I love them because I use them in my house as baby monitors. I've got one in each child's room, and when I want to see what a kid's doing in the middle of the night, if I want to make sure that they're peaceful, silent, sleeping the way they should be, I can use that and peek in on them right now. And I don't have to open the door to disturb them. I can do it whether I'm home or not. If my wife and I are at a movie and I'm a little bit worried about them, peek in right now and I can see it. Or I can say, hey, peek in next motion, and if you get out of bed, I'll know about it. I had my son, who's 10 now, used to always get in trouble because he was always getting out of bed, and I would catch him every time because I would set his image sensor to peek in next motion. He'd get out of bed and try and play, and I could go in and be like, hey, buddy, I know you're out of bed. How'd you know, Dad? Because the camera detected your motion. So, and it's certainly applicable not just for kids. There's lots of great reasons to use that. But my personal vote is, rather than using a motion sensor, use an image sensor. Up to 5 of them can be supported on the IQ panel. So let's keep going. Quick install app. We've really done I think, a very good job in making it easy to install the IQ panel, and especially all the sensors associated with it. Sensors are organized by sensor type. So when you choose whether it's door window or motion or glass break or whatever, then all of your sensor names, your chime types, your groups, all of those things are automatically defaulted to only that category. So you're never going to accidentally learn in a door window as a smoke detector because you used the wrong sensor group. You've got a 7-inch touchscreen. You can read all that right there on the screen. In addition to that, the sensor name can be completely customized. So if I want my sensor name to, instead of being front door, I want it to be Jeremy's front door, I can type in Jeremy's front door into the keyboard on the screen, and it will speak Jeremy's front door every time that door is opened. And the custom text-to-speech in there allows me to really customize my entire system. I've got a fairly robust system in my home, and I like to customize every single sensor. In fact, I rarely even use it, with the exception of front door and back door. I don't even use our custom names, which are things like, front door, back door, living room door, bedroom door, things like that. I put things like the girls' bedroom door or Jake's bedroom door. And I put sensors on my internal doors as well, just so I can know when those doors are being opened and closed. I can choose whether I hear those chimes or not. I could say, hey, on the girls' bedroom, I want voice prompts and chimes on, because when they get out of bed at night, I want to hear that. But on my son's bedroom door, he's old enough that if he gets up in the middle of the night to get a drink of water or something like that, I don't necessarily need to hear it. So I turn voice prompts off and the chimes off on that. And again, you can customize it by sensor. You can customize the name by sensor. Really, really intuitive, easy to use. And for those of you that haven't used it, you've got to try it out. Come to ISC and check it out. We'll let you demo it. Let me go through and see what other questions we've got up that I need to address. Doorbell sensor. Haven't heard about that. Janet, take a look at our website. The IQ doorbell is a little sensor that integrates directly into an existing doorbell chime unit in the home. So you don't have to replace the button on the outside of the house. Your doorbell chime unit inside your house still rings, but it also rings on the IQ panel and any of your secondary panels as well. And you can pair it with intelligent rules to say, hey, when doorbell rings, start my video camera or turn on my porch light, things like that. So it basically turns any existing home doorbell into a smart doorbell. It's pretty great. Kent wants to know how many hardwire zones can be connected. Well, we have a hardwire 16 zone module, and you can do as many of those as you want, up to 59 total security zones. Hopefully that answers your question, Kent. Let's see. How about an outdoor sensor? Rick wants to know. I'm assuming you mean like an outdoor door window sensor, something you could use for like a pool gate or a mailbox. We don't have one. We've had some requests for one, but it hasn't been enough that we've really put a lot of effort into it, if it's something that you guys feel really strongly about, we certainly are willing to look into it. I'm willing to bet that there's got to be something out there. Most of the ones I've seen are really bulky though, and we really hate implementing bulky, ugly things. So we're working on, or we've been looking for something that would be a little more slim, a little more discreet than something so as big as what we've seen so far. But if you know of one that operates on 319.5, you could use it today, and I would certainly love it if you'd tell us about it too. So let's see. Gonna keep going down here. Can the customer or end user be prevented from disabling the exit or entry delay sound? So you're saying that on the security settings, you want to be able to say, don't disable the exit delays or entry delay sounds? I'm not really sure of a use case scenario where you'd want to do that, but there is a lot of settings in the panel that allow you to customize sounds and things like that. I think you might be able to just change that. But in terms of just being able to disable it, I can't think of a time where you'd want to disable it. I mean, you can certainly silence it yourself from your app or from the thing, but you do that manually each time you want to do it. Let's see. Lots of questions. Whitney's handling these great. Thank you very much for doing that, Whitney. Will smoke detectors all sound simultaneously when one trips? Ken wants to know. Great question, Ken. The answer is no, unfortunately. And the reason for that is because the smoke detectors themselves are only sending a signal. The smoke detectors send a signal saying, I smell smoke, go off. And the panel then goes off. But if the panel sending out a signal, the smoke detectors aren't receiving any signals. The smoke detectors aren't receiving a signal that says from the panel, hey, you should go off. That would require what's called a two-way smoke detector. And while those exist out there, they're a lot more expensive. And so we haven't really put much effort into them because we know that some people feel like, they want to try and keep things as affordable as possible for their customers. We have been looking into it. It is something that we've talked about, and we're hopefully this year sometime we'll be able to announce that we'll have one as an option, so that if you wanted one that is a two-way smoke detector, you could have it. But currently, the way the software works right now, it only tells you, it only listens for the smoke detector. The smoke detectors themselves don't receive signals and therefore can't go off in that situation. Let's see. Robert wants to know, can we limit code access to the photos? Yes, you can. You can go into the settings, go into installation, and then go into to photos and video, and you can make it so that it's called secure camera, and it makes it so that if someone wants to access that area of the panel, that they would need a valid user code. Let's see. A dog was 20 pounds. Andrew says a dog was 20 pounds and was in a cage and in view of the image sensor, and it still went off. Meaning that your alarm went off. It's supposed to be pet immune up to 40 pounds, I believe it is. Or maybe it's 80-pound pet immune. But that's a 20-pound dog. That's tiny. And it was in a cage, and the alarm went off. Very interesting. I don't know. Let's see. When will rate of rise heat sensors be available? Alan wants to know. We've got a lot of things coming out in 2016. I don't want to talk about new products until they're actually out, though. It's because, if there was something else, some other development we're doing on them, I don't want you to feel like, I make you a promise that ends up getting pushed off. This industry's been notorious for that, don't you think? It seems like people talk about stuff that's coming out before it's actually out. And I understand it in some cases, with panels or things like that, but with sensors and devices and things like that, I prefer not to talk about that. That's just my own personal thing. Let's see. Let me dive into, when is the software update coming? Pete wants to know. Coming soon. Again, just like I was mentioning a second ago, I don't want to, if we're still putting the finishing touches on it, and I don't want to commit to a date that ends up getting pushed if we decide to push it because it's not quite ready. So let's talk some more about some differences in the IQ panel. One of the huge differences that's going to make a lot of difference for you is our best-in-class integration with AirFX. You can program sensors, even program the device itself, the panel itself. You can pair sensors. You can troubleshoot devices, diagnostics. You can adjust settings, screen brightness, sensor names, volume, all sorts of things, all from your comfortable computer. You don't have to worry about rolling a truck. And we always tell people, retire the truck. You don't have to roll a truck unless you want to. We've got the ability to do almost anything you can think of. I mean, if you can do it locally on the panel, chances are you can do it from AirFX. And we've worked very closely with Alarm.com to make that a reality. And it's been really, really successful so far. Everything from doing software updates to rediscovering the Z-Wave network to changing the name of a sensor to screen brightness to master volume. I mean, all the above. Adjusting your delays, rediscovering, your Wi-Fi signal, things like that. So it's really about the ability to troubleshoot things without having to roll a truck. And in many cases, that troubleshooting can be done from the Alarm.com's mobile tech app. So if your technician is in charge of a particular setting or doing a particular maintenance or performance on a customer system, and he's in the middle of another install, he could take 5 minutes if he got that phone call or that text message saying, hey, Mrs. Lucia wants to change her screen brightness, it's too bright. Sure, let me go online real quick, do it, blah blah blah. Okay, that should be good. Let me know if she has a further problem, and then he gets back to his install and doesn't have to worry about going over to her house later on, right? So it's really, really powerful to be able to do that, and there's a lot of cost savings there, which hopefully improves the experience that you have and improves the lifetime value to the customer. Stefan wants to know, what brands of surveillance cameras do you support? We support all the Alarm.com cameras, and my personal favorite is that outdoor wireless one that you can put right on your front porch, and then the pan tilt one, the HD pan tilt one. I've got those in my home, and I absolutely love them. How many languages can the panel speak? Brian wants to know. Currently, the panel does. Well, let's talk about languages for a second. So you don't have to buy a separate SKU in order to do different languages. Out of the box, Google Android had 40 different languages that were supported. The reason we don't have 40 languages on our panel today is because of what's called localization. Tell you a funny story. When we first did our Spanish translation for the IQ panel, we actually had we just used Google's built-in stuff, but to disarm the panel, the words it used was literally rip the arms off the panel. Disarm, right? Because it was using the word arm, and to disarm, it was basically like, chop the arm off. So we realized that localization was really critical to having a really good customer experience. So we don't release new languages until we've completely localized the language. We've got both French for Canada and Spanish for Mexico on the panel today, and those can be switched on your panels that you have in your homes or in your businesses right now with a touch of a button. So very, very easy. And we've really worked hard to design this for a consistent customer experience. If you look at the Alarm.com app, the Apple Watch app for Alarm.com, the tablet, the phone, the computer, and then compare that with the IQ panel, the IQ2, it feels all the same. And I think that's important for your customers as they're learning to use the panel, as they're learning to use their app. You don't want them to have to walk up to the panel and be like, well, which one? On my phone, it's the orange lock, but which one is it on this? On the panel, it's like a blue or a green lock. It gets confusing for them. Let's make it easy for them. And we've worked really hard to try and make it as easy as possible and as intuitive as possible. So a quick recap in terms of the differences between us. It's a 7-inch touchscreen. It's the largest all-in-one touchscreen out there. We've got all of those things integrated into it. You can see who's disarmed the panel from the integrated panel camera. You've got all the wireless radios built into it. You've got the speaker, the siren, the battery, the SD card slot, all of it all built in. We've got the ability to send those disarm photos to your phone. You've got dual path connectivity, which gives you both simultaneous and cellular and Wi-Fi connectivity. Automatic updates through regular software updates. You can reduce your truck rolls with all the remote programming and troubleshooting, which makes your panel DIY ready. If you wanted to try some DIY installs, you could send them the panel and program everything over the phone or from the computer, which is great. You've got those help videos, custom text-to-speech. It really is the best solution out there on the market today, and I think you'll agree. So we've also got the ISC 2016 show special. This price is valid through October 30th. For that period of time, you get the panel, you get the motion sensor, 4-door window sensors, the doorbell sensor and the tilt sensor. All of those. That's what is that? That's a 1411, right? You know, that's a 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 devices plus the IQ panel for $365. Really, really great price. Now, I show a kit part number there. That's for the Verizon kit, but we do also have kits for Rogers, for Telefonica, and for AT&T if you needed those as well. You also can use the IQ panel emulator. Just go to Qolsys.com/emulator to emulate the panel's experience. It's a great way to show off the panel's experience to your customer. Great for showing it off in a sales situation. It's also great for troubleshooting too. You can give that to all your technicians and they can tell your customer, oh yeah, touch here, click here, do that, and it makes it easy. I will tell you though, you generally won't need to use that for troubleshooting because the panel's so intuitive that most of the time your customers can do anything they need to themselves without that extra effort. Great ways to sell it. You can buy one of our video brochures. We've also got a lot of other information on our dealer portal that you can use. You've got Ask Jenny videos that are really fun and easy to follow to help you install. If you've got ideas for those, send them to us at marketing@Qolsys.com. Our dealer portal, of course, is full of information, sales and marketing materials, training, support, documentation, pre-built marketing. If you want access to that and don't have it already, you can send an email to us at portalaccess@Qolsys.com. We'll make sure you get set up. I want to quickly go through ISC West 2016. I am curious to know if you're attending the Vegas show next week. So I'm going to do a quick poll. Are you coming to ISC? Yes, no, or you're undecided? I know some of you, it's quite a bit to take, several days out of work, and it's quite a distance to travel. So I totally get that that you wouldn't be going. But if you are thinking about it, if you are undecided, there's some really, really great reasons why you should go. And if I've got any way to influence you to make a trip out there, I'd like to do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and close this poll real quick, and I want to show you what we've got in store for ISC. First is the kickoff party Tuesday night. We're the official sponsor of the ISC West kickoff party. It's going to be the best party of the week. We want to meet you in person. I'll be there. Whitney will be there. The rest of our team will be there. That's happening on Tuesday night at 10 p.m. As an extra bonus, bring your ISC West badge, and we'll scan it at the door, and we'll give you a free drink ticket. So we hope to meet you there on that one. We're also doing an open house for our Internet of Home showroom. That's Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. So the show floor doesn't open until 10, so you've got a full hour to come in and play around with all the new stuff, see the products we've got available, ask us questions, interact with. I would love to meet you guys. So please, if you're in Vegas that week, come introduce yourself. I'd love to meet you in person, shake your hand, show you around, and we can talk about your particular situation and share ideas. The showroom itself will be open on Wednesday and Thursday from 10 a.m. through 5 p.m. We'll also be open for a short time on Friday morning. And that's located in Bellini 2102. And we want you to be able to see, our product everywhere. So we're actually going to be in several booths. We'll have our Qolsys showroom I just mentioned. We're also in the Tyco booth. We're in the Alarm.com booth. We'll be in the Z-Wave Alliance booth. We'll have a display in the Rapid Response booth. We'll have signs in the Venetian hallway, and there's going to be, we're participating in the SIA Education Week. So you should be able to see us all over the show. There's a lot of fun things. We're going to do some live webinars. We've got a technical webinar at 11 a.m., a sales and marketing one at 2, both on Wednesday. And we've got free gifts for those. So I hope you join us for those. And you can meet us in person on that. I will be moderating a panel discussion with Mitch Klein, Jay Kenny, and Tim Colleran, talking about the future of the Internet of Home. That's in room 306 as part of SIA's Education Week. You get a chance to ask questions of these guys, ask them, where the future of the Internet of Home is going, and we'll discuss that in depth. So I hope you can join us there. Again, that's Wednesday at 12:30. And I hope you join our race team. We're doing that Thursday morning for the Security 5K race. It's at Sunset Park. There's shuttles that go out there. It's a great cause. And if you join our team, you can go on to the website, the security5k.com website, and join our team. You're going to get a Qolsys race tee, and the first 25 dealers will get a free security kit. So we're throwing in some extra incentives there for you guys to join us for a great cause. So really hope you guys can make it out. Also, someone asked earlier, are we launching a new panel at ISC West? I'm not going to tell you what we're doing at ISC West, but I will tell you that what we're doing at ISC West, you'll be the first to see it if you come to our meeting room. 2102. So Bellini 2102, be there. You're going to love what you see and get a chance to experience it as well. Whitney, were we doing what was our giveaway or prize for this week? Were we doing a drawing for something? I can't remember.
Yeah, we have a drawing for 3 winners to take home an IQ security kit.
Oh, a security kit. Excellent. So I need a number between 1 and 100. First person to type in that number, give me that number, and that'll be our random number we pick. Okay, so Jeremy says 52, and it looks like number 52 is down the list. Hugh Coppels. I hope I said that right. HUGHCOPPELS. So Hugh, congratulations. You won an IQ security kit. We're going to send that to the address that you gave us when you registered today for the webinar. So congratulations. We're excited to have you. So we get 2 more of those. All right. The next number is 33. And let me look. 1, 2, 3, 33. Down the list. Looks like that is Eric Moe. Eric, congratulations. You won an IQ security kit. And our third number is 55, Rick says. I'm going to scroll down the list here. And 55 is Lolita Martin. Lolita, welcome. And congratulations, you won an IQ security kit. So congratulations to you guys. If you want an IQ security kit and didn't win one today, you should join our race team and come join us in ISC West and run the Security 5K race. We'll have a security kit for you and of course the race team that you'll get, and you'll get to be part of our team. So thanks again for everybody who joined today. Thanks again for all the questions. I apologize we weren't able to get to all of them. If you think that your question was important enough that you want an answer to it, Whitney and I will stay on the line real quick and answer those over the GoToMeeting question bar. So just retype that question in there for us, and we'll get an answer for you. Again, everyone, thank you so much for joining today. I really hope that you're going to join us at ISC. It looks like there's a good percentage of you that are undecided. I hope this has convinced you. We've got some fun things to share with you, and I can't wait to do it. And I want to meet you in person. I really do. That's it for our webinar today. I'm going to go ahead and go offline. Anyone who's got additional questions, we can type those in. But thanks again for joining, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.